Dems have crossed the line. They're now trying to pass a bill to have taxpayers cover their living expenses. By Amy Moreno for TruthFeedNews.com. Democrats are really trying to ruin America. The do-nothing, obstructionist, liberal lawmakers are now trying to force hardworking American taxpayers to pay for their housing. Representative Bernie Thompson had the audacity to introduce a bill that would allow House reps to deduct their housing costs on their tax returns. Democrats refuse to work with President Trump to enforce immigration or lower taxes, but they'll sit around introducing laws to give themselves more freebies. Typical swamp mindset. From Washington Free Beacon, Democratic members of Congress want taxpayers to subsidize their housing, signing on to legislation that would allow them to deduct living expenses for members of the House of Representatives. Representative Bernie Thompson, a Democrat, introduced a bill that would ban members of Congress from sleeping in their offices and would change the tax code to allow House members to deduct their spending on housing in D.C. up to $3,000. The deduction would not apply to senators. Thompson has also proposed turning a vacant building near Capitol Hill into apartments for House members at the expense of taxpayers, which critics have dubbed a congressional animal house. The taxpayer watchdog group Citizens Against Government Waste criticized Thompson's legislation and his proposed taxpayer-funded dorms. On May 16, 2018, Representative Thompson introduced H.R. 5845, the No Couches for Congress Act, which would ban members of Congress from sleeping in their offices, the group said. He also proposed converting vacant residence halls near the Capitol into, quote, affordable housing for members of Congress who make $174,000 per year. He claimed that it would be available for members who found housing costs to be prohibitive. Yeah, right, prohibitive. However, the claim that housing is unaffordable is belied by the average monthly cost of a studio apartment in Washington, D.C., which is about $1,600 or less than 10% of members' annual salary. CAGW continued, the average American spends 33% of his or her annual income on housing. Right? Unbelievable. This is what they came up with. This is why they took off, that they weren't going to go on vacation for the 3 weeks, in order to do the legislation. Unbelievable. And this is what they're coming up with, huh? The bill introduced by Thompson, who's a Democrat, right, would prohibit congressmen from using their congressional offices for personal overnight accommodations. It would also amend the tax code to allow a deduction for living expenses incurred by members of the House of Representatives. Text of the legislation changes Section 162A of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986, which currently bans deductions for living expenses for members of Congress. The legislation amends the code to allow for up to a $3,000 deduction for costs incurred while living in D.C. away from their home states. The legislation has 23 co-sponsors, all Democrats, including James Clyburn of South Carolina, Hank Johnson of Georgia, Elijah Cummings, the other winner here, Elijah Cummings of Maryland, and Marcia Fudge, Ohio. Other members of Congress are not on board and have called Thompson's proposal for a congressional dorm a bad idea. The more I think about it, the less likely I would be to support it. Representative Mike Bishop, a Republican, told the New York Post it might be a breeding house for something bad. You think? I'm here to work, not relive my college days in a taxpayer-funded dorm, added Representative Dan Donovan, another Republican who sleeps in his office to save money. Our national debt is over $20 trillion, so I don't think it's a great use of taxpayer funds to build Congress a dorm, he said. Request for comment from Thompson's office was not immediately returned. Surprise, surprise. Really? The Democrat didn't return a call for comment? How surprising. Public service is not supposed to be comfortable or luxurious, said Tom Schatz, the president of Citizens Against Government Waste. Taxpayers send these men and women to Washington to work and pay them a salary that is more than 3 times that of an average American. Congress should focus on getting America's fiscal house in order and spend less time trying to create a congressional animal house, right? I totally agree with that statement. You know, that's you see what the Democrats are working on? Do you see what the Democrats are working on? Do you see? They could care less about you guys. Wake up. Wake up. This is true. Democrats are really trying to ruin America. They're trying to bankrupt it so we'll all crash and burn, and the New World Order will come in where everybody's a slave, you know, and the elite will rule. Unbelievable. This is sickening. And they have the gall to go out in public and spew this kind of garbage. And the idiots that vote these idiots into office, it's just surprises me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.